welcome to Strut and Bellow. Hi, Instagram viewers. We are on Facebook Live here, Strut and Bellow with Melanie Clark-Pullen, and I'm chatting to Nandi Jola. Hello, Nandi.
Hello, Mel, and hello to your viewers.
Now, I don't even know. We have no viewers so far, but what's going to happen is this will go up on the site so people can have a look at it later. But how are you feeling about Sunday? I should just put a bit of context around this. Nandi is part of our cast for the Vagina Monologues, which is our sellout show happening in the Lyric Theatre Belfast this Sunday night. And she and her daughter, Anesu, are both part of our cast. So how are you feeling about it, Nandi?
Excited? Scared, but really excited, yeah.
Yeah. So just to put a little bit of context, I mean, I think you've been in Northern Ireland a heck of a lot longer than me, because I'm a total newbie.
17 years now.
13 years.
17.
So, 17?
Yep.
What brought you to Northern Ireland then?
Well, it's just that a youth thing that's called love, isn't it? So
Okay.
I came to Northern Ireland with a partner. We both came from South Africa. He got a job here, so I just came as a dependent, a spouse. And since then, we've since separated, divorced. And I have my daughter, as you said, Anessa was in the production. And I just stayed on.
You don't miss the hot weather in the summers?
Of course I do. Well, the argument is in the house really is where is home. For me, home is in South Africa. And for Anessa, this is home. So I think the way to settle that argument is that when Anessa is an adult, I can return home and she can remain home. So I don't think I'm going to win anytime soon until that argument is settled here.
I know. It's so funny because it's nearly 6 or 7 years ago, I have family in South Africa and went on this epic journey, myself and my husband. And at the time, I just had the two children. I had Grace and Gabriel. Gabriel was only just one. And we went in November. So it was just the beginning of going into the summer. Yeah. So Grace was 3. And all I remember is her going, "Mommy, it's so hot. It's so hot."
Bless.
I completely fell in love with South Africa. And I mean, at one point, I had a cousin, and we have cousins all over South Africa, but Cape Town, my cousin was like, "Come on, we'll get you a job. We've got contacts, move here." And I was really tempted because it is just a stunning country, and there's so much potential and a lot of issues.
I mean, it's not. It's nice to be home, and also it's nice to be here.
Yeah.
Because I think for me here works as well. Beside the weather, everything else is great.
Yeah. I find since moving here is, the welcome and the people. The people are incredible here.
Yeah. For me, it's the stories that are beautiful because they're intertwined with South African stories. And really? I found that people in Northern Ireland know more about South Africa than I do. I'm like, what? Because I think it's because during the apartheid, we're not allowed to travel. We didn't go out much. And people that, especially the ones in Dublin, they were the ones who had fought apartheid. Remember the dance door workers?
Yeah.
So it was in the media here. It was not in the media in South Africa. It was controlled media in South Africa. But people here, they were the ones that were sending support. They were the ones that were writing letters. They were the ones who were in the mainstream, television. So we didn't know anything. We were in the dark, but people abroad knew.
Wow. And I mean, so 17 years ago, then you'd have had, was Nelson Mandela was in power by then, wasn't he?
Yeah, Nelson Mandela just came out. We voted for the first time in 1994. He came out in 1990. We voted in 1994. And 6 years on, I was like, where am I going? I just felt this urge of freedom because I have tasted freedom for the first time.
Yeah.
And for me, the world was my oyster.
Yeah.
And that's what freedom meant to me. It didn't mean that I had to live in South Africa. It meant that I was not restricted to go anywhere. I was free. So I just went.
Yeah, brilliant. And so, in terms of the writing, you're a poet and a speaker. Have you always done that? Was that something that began in South Africa, or is that something that grew since you moved here?
The poetry began in South Africa. The writing then came from a place where I couldn't really pin down what it was that I was missing about home. Because I made friends here, I met other Xhosa-speaking women here, we talked, I heard so many stories, I was comforted by people here. I think then the writing, the memoirs, the monologues, the short stories, that all came together then because I was missing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of clicked, and it dawned on me that, you know what, you are missing something, you are sad inside, and for me to, to kind of comfort myself, I had to write.
Yeah. And do you, in terms of the poetry, or do you have influences? Are there people that other poets that sort of fill you up? What is it that fills your well in terms of your writing?
As you can imagine, a teenager growing up in South Africa, I didn't have much access to books or libraries. And my mom's a teacher. All my aunties are teachers, so I never wanted to be a teacher, right? But there was books that my mom had brought home. My mom taught primary school, but she had brought books home. But when she was a teacher still, she furthered on her education. She went to university. And I remember at home, she always read Bessie Head. And Bessie Head, When Rain Clouds Gather, and other books. And I thought to myself, wow, I read the actual book. And at that time, I had little or limited English, but I still read it. And I find it so fascinating because she was doing questions, essays, and she had to write an abstract on the book. So that, for me, was the pinnacle point where I said, you know what, writing is the thing for me.
Yeah.
So poetry is how I started with. I mean, it was very raw, very organic, and very honest poetry. Things like, I hate this country. Why can't we throw tear gas back at them? Why can't we go there to the whites only beaches? I'm going to go there one day. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be magnificent. Then realizing the reality of it, that, you know what, I can't even afford to get my black ass over there. The naivety of all of it, and the rawness and the honesty, was in my first poetry writing. And unfortunately, I lost the entire collection. Yeah, I lost the entire collection. What happened is I took it, I brought it with me when I went to uni, and I never saw it again.
Oh, and where did you go to university?
I went to Walter Sisulu University, which is in East London. So Port Elizabeth, East London. So it's about 3 hours away from Port Elizabeth. Wow.
And so you moved over here, and was the poetry something that sort of continued on? Was that one of, because I'm sure, I mean, the culture shock of moving from South Africa to Northern Ireland, apart from the cold and the grey, was the poetry something that sort of held you through that?
Yeah, it was my friend. I didn't have friends at the time. I was in a controlled relationship. When I came here, I didn't know anybody. And that's just the honest truth. If I had seen a black person crossing a road, I would literally cross the road without looking, just to go and say hello. And that was my experience when I saw a first black person after being here after 5 years in Belfast. I just ran across the road just to say hello. So it was just something to write, something to do, something to keep me, my mind sane.
Yeah.
Because I was in such a controlled relationship that everything was controlled. My phone, my, everything. The only thing really that was, couldn't be touched was the writing itself.
Wow.
It was the writing itself. And it was really therapeutic because at one stage I did lose my mind. I just went, you know what, I had a breakdown. And it was at that stage, even when I was in the psychiatric ward, it was poetry that kept coming back to me. It was the writing, put everything in paper. So it was very important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of amazing, actually. The creative spark can be the thing that gets snuffed out, or it can be the thing that saves you. So your relationship then was a really difficult one. That I hadn't realized.
I mean,
part of your story.
it was difficult to say the least, Melanie, because I came here as a dependent on the visa. That was something that I was reminded of every day. You know, you could be deported anytime. I'm going to report you. There was incidents where I was working and I would have got a phone call to say the Home Office had rang and they say blah, blah, blah. But looking back at it now, I just think it was just the person, you know, trying to control me.
Yeah.
But, you know, a couple of times I did go to Women's Aid. I had to go back because there's so much, when you're in the country, you're scared. You know, you're scared. You're terrified. You don't want to break the law.
Yeah.
You don't know what the law is. You're depending on this person that brought you here to show you everything. And, you know, so for me, the only time that I really had courage, because I've been back and forth in Women's Aid and I've been going back, but the only courage came when my daughter was born. And when she was born, then I kind of knew that there was a duty there, not just for me, but for, you know, for the child to be protected.
Yeah.
So whenever the child then was with me and I was in Women's Aid, even though at times they had to phone the Home Office and find out, so what's this woman's story going to be now? She's going to leave the husband. It's just and it was a long fight that I had to fight on top of being in a foreign country. So for years, you know, just trying to get settled in the country on my own right without being a dependent to that person anymore. It was very hard because I'm not, people think that when foreign or people come into the country, they are here for the benefits. Not a single day I was entitled to benefits.
No,
or public funds.
I mean, that is the misconception that just drives me crazy.
Exactly. It said it's from day one that we're not entitled to public funds. And public funds means that if you want to go to the doctors, you have to pay you have to have a card, NHS card, which you pay annually too. And it's things like that. And people think people are coming here to scrounge. When you're coming here, you pay you pay the landlord. There's no housing benefits. You pay everybody. You pay everything.
Wow.
You know, so that how am I going to pay all of this whilst I'm not allowed to work because my application was still with the Home Office. And it was like a long process. I'm like, can you at least allow me to work? So it kind of was a catch-22 situation. If the abuser, I can work immediately. So if I don't go back and I sit with the Home Office, I have to wait, you know, until you make a decision on how you're going to then move me on from being a dependent into my own right. Do I qualify? What qualifications? Can I speak English? Of course, all those things, then they had to come to play. But in the end, it took for good 10 years, then we're not entitled to anything with the child.
It's amazing. I just, I mean, the system really shocks me. Just how it keeps people in such bondage. I mean, to not give you know, like there's just it's so messed up.
It is messed up, man. When you hear about direct provision,
oh, don't get me started.
People are like in prison, but it's just the way things are. But for me, it ended up to a point where I was just at a breaking point. They took the child into foster care. I lost it, and I had to fight back for her. And between the divorce, fighting for the child, fighting the immigration, the chance of being deported out of the country, and you know, where does one get a chance to integrate? Where does one get a chance to progress with the career and get the job that they are qualified for? When does one ever do what they dreamt of?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk across you, but it's just the survival mode.
Yeah, how are you gonna have experience? And then when they ask you, what experience have you got? Like, I've got experience of how to fight an immigration officer, or you know,
I'm really good with paperwork.
I'm really good with filing and keeping documents. You know.
Wow.
Get
So I mean, then a big part of this project must be, I hadn't realized until today your direct connection to the the people who are going to benefit from our show, Women's Aid and the V-Day campaign, but specifically 90% of proceeds are going to Women's Aid. And I hadn't realized you had a personal link there. So
I think that's, for me, that's why I did it, Mel. It's because I was at so many different Women's Aid, and I was, at one stage, I was their guest speaker to speak about my experience whilst I was at Women's Aid, because at the time, they were not obliged to take me. My bed wasn't paid for, my place wasn't paid for at the time, but it was just because of the work that they were doing, and they believed that no woman, no child should go through domestic violence. So they took me on, and I stayed on with them for a good year. So that's how I'm happy that every proceed of this is going to them, because for me, if I could do it for them, then, I have paid my dues.
Yeah. Wow.
I have paid my dues, and what better way to do it?
And what a better way to do it, and also with your daughter in as well.
With the child that they saved, you know what I mean? Both on stage.
Wow. That is so powerful. I wish I'd known that before, actually. That's an incredible story. And Anesu is an incredible young woman. Anesu is performing in the show, and she's not been phased at all, because it's quite out there, and she's just gone with it. She's quite a remarkable young woman. So motherhood, you two seem to have a really close relationship. What's the secret? Nandi, I have a daughter. What's the secret?
Yeah, the secret for me is not to be a mother, but to be a friend.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I've never had a sister, and I always wanted a sister. My mom was a mother to me. We didn't have a relationship that I could go to her and say, I have this problem, or what can I do? Even when I was going through domestic violence, even when I was here going all through that hard time, I never told her, because we didn't have that relationship. She was always a mother. She always told me so. So for me and Anesu, it's very important, one, to have a sister, and two, to be a friend.
Well, that's very clear from the way that you banter together and the way that you chat.
It has to be like that, Mel, or else I think I don't want to lose her. I don't want for her to go anywhere else but to come to me first.
Yeah, of course. And raising a daughter in this environment, in this culture, it's scary. I mean, all the social media stuff is quite that's terrifying for me. I mean, my daughter is already into computer games and stuff like that, and she wants to connect with people, and all her friends have phones. I'm just going, whoa! I just want to.
I'm not really worried about that. The one thing that really I was worried about, that woke me up in the middle of the night, I'm thinking, what have I done? Is the fact that Anesu is Black in a predominantly white society, and she had to find those differences and live with them and accept them. And for her to have an afro was a big, massive step, that I made sure that she didn't have her hair relaxed. She didn't have extensions on or wave. She didn't fit in society, that she stood out. And for herself to see an afro as a symbol of intelligence, because if you look at, Angela Davis, her afro, and for her to know that it's okay to be Black, and there is no place for color. You can't say white people don't belong in Africa. They belong in Europe because they're white, and Black people belong in Africa because they are Black. The universe is for all of us. We are all citizens. And for her to fit in and be in the right place, she's born here, she's in the right place. This is where she belongs.
Yeah. And she's a really important, her generation are vitally important to the next how this country, how particularly Northern Ireland, I think, how this country moves on.
Of course,
with everything that we're facing with Brexit and all of the history and the culture and everything. It's actually having Anesu right there in the thick of it is really, really, really vital. It's really she writes poetry as well. Is that something?
Anesu is more published than I am. Like, hello. Yeah, Anesu is more published than I am. She's in mainstream politics.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a board member at the Northern Ireland Youth Forum.
Yeah.
And yesterday they had a sit-in at Stormont.
Oh yes, I saw that. Yes,
yes. So they are calling. Yes, yes. So they are calling for the Northern Ireland Youth Assembly, and they're calling for votes at 16, and she's right in the thick of it. So
but that's important because with everything that's happening in Florida at the moment, all the students that are rising up and saying enough about the shooting in Florida. And I saw this morning all the protests in Tallahassee, the mass turnout of young people calling for and standing up for themselves. And, you know, maybe that's what it's going to take here is for the young people to go, come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, come on, really. It has to be.
And then, so what's coming? So we've got the show on Sunday night, which is just going to be amazing. I mean, we did a run there on Wednesday, and I really came away feeling really emotional. And because it's
actually, it was emotional. There was a couple of tears in the room, wasn't it?
There was. And you know, it was also just having, well, for me, being in a room with women and acting, and I mean, it's just like all of my favorite things in one place. I nearly exploded. But just having such an incredible cast as well, having veterans like Brenda Winter, who is one of the founders of Charabank. She was and Mary Jordan and Vicky Blades and Emma McCurley, and I don't want to miss anybody out. I want to name them all because I said I wanted to give a shout out. We've got Sarah Reed. Sarah's just out of college a couple of years, and she's flying. Michelle Young, Marina Hampton, who has an amazing one or two person show that she's written and which is really going to go places soon. And Kat Barter, who's just stunning and wonderful and her fine, but she does the final monologue, and she's going to bring the place.
I don't know how we're going to keep our eyes
tissues because that's going to be.
I know. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a recipient of the support from the Arts Council. So I got the SIAP grant there last year to write my memo, and it's called The Absent Daughter. So this is the second time I've received the SIAP. The first I used it for cultural awareness workshops.
Right.
So I was doing cultural awareness workshops in public libraries throughout Northern Ireland. So this time around, I am writing the memo.
Good woman.
And for Anesu, I mean, she is published. I think she's longlisted for the Seamus Heaney Award.
Wow! I didn't know that.
Yep. Anesu, and the next thing, she's in the 4x4 Poetry Journal, which was published in January there with the Poetry NI.
Wow.
She's with, I think she's going to go to the Sinead Morrissey workshop in Poetry Island.
Oh, fantastic. Yes,
she's writing the short story. Yeah, she's writing a short story at the minute for the BBC.
Wow.
So, you know, I think we can only look up. We've looked down so much.
Well,
we can come home and just be us.
Yes. I mean, it's so funny because like this time last year, I had no idea that this is where I'd be. And I came through a bit of a dark time last year as well. And there was so much uncertainty and so much fear. And it was amazing coming up here. And then, I consciously decided I would, spend the first sort of 4 months up into Christmas just settling my children and getting myself a bit settled and, just getting, moving into the house and all that kind of stuff. And it was really funny at the beginning of the year. I thought, right, I need to start to put myself out there. But I nothing that I've ever loved has come through hustle and sort of pushing. Oops, I've lost you. I've lost Nandi. Maybe her battery's died or something. Anyway, I'll continue chatting and hopefully she'll click back in. Are you there? No technical difficulties. Just for those of you on Instagram, hi Kelly and hi Mel. I'm over on Facebook Live. That's why you can hear Nandi, but you can't see her. If you go to Facebook Live, you should be able to see her. Anyway, I've lost my connection to Nandi, but yeah, I'll just finish up my little story. Just the interesting thing for me is that nothing for me has ever really come from hustle or pushing. But at the beginning of the year, I said I wanted something. I wanted ease. I wanted I just wanted to go with the flow, and the ease with which this project came about was just incredible. And even just sitting in a room with Joe, our director, and going, well, who might be involved, and really sort of putting out there that we wanted to reflect the modern Northern Ireland and like we have so many different accents and nationalities represented, which is really, really powerful. And so I've just had a message from Nandi. I accidentally pressed something. Oh, I do that all the time. No worries, Nandi. Let me see if we can get you back on just to, can you try again? Just so we can say goodbye, because I'm going to wrap up now. Anyway, the whole thing is that it's a powerful thing to get women in a room talking about themselves and our sorry, I'm getting distracted now. Oh, she's live. You back on? Hello, hello. Oh, I can't see you. Let me see. Hi. Oh, we can't see you. Anyway, I guess, Nandi, if you can hear me, if you would go to, maybe just send links of where we can find you on the web and where we can find you, your poetry, and also Inesu's poetry would be great too. Yeah, the Vagina Monologues is an incredible piece of work. For me, this is really just the beginning. It's amazing to me that we've got Strut and Bellow presents within the first 2 months of the year, and really this is just going to be the beginning. Strut and Bellow exists to inspire, empower, and promote women makers, and I'm so glad that Nandi was able to join me today and we could hear something of her story. I will put the show notes up on the website today, and I will put links as to where you can find Nandi and what she's got coming up in the next while. Thank you for those of you who checked in. Don't forget to check the website, www.strutandbellow.com, and please sign up for the newsletter where you'll get you'll find out before everybody else what's going on and what's happening. There are, let me just see. Okay. I am, just let me message Nandi and say I'm signing off. Call you in a sec. Signing out. Hey, the wonders of modern technology. Guys, I'm going to head off. Oh, I want her to say goodbye. Right, yeah, we're not going to get her back, unfortunately. Check out the website. Follow me on Instagram. I'm there nearly every day. Check me out on Facebook. Keep up to date there. And yeah, this is just the beginning. I'm really excited. This is just the beginning. There's going to be some fun stuff happening this year. And in the meantime, keep strutting and bellowing. Bye-bye.